Good evening, UN Spacey Wolf Squadron. This is your Wolf Commander Wolf 10. I'm your werewolf. Today we're talking about backstory, how to write backstories. When is too much, when is too little. What can hurt and what can damage a story or a character for that matter. I'm here with the Warrior of Light Final Fantasy fan.
Greetings YouTube viewers and fellow Final Fantasy fans, this is Final Fantasy Fan 012 here, and welcome back to another live stream on the UN Space Fleet Wolf Squadron, and today we are talking about backstories, how they're normally written, when is it necessary to even write them, but never go overboard with it.
No,
Uh,
Mies.
I'm getting there. The lovely Leia Valor, Leia Plus Size, everybody.
Good evening, everybody. This is Leia Plus Size, your lovely lady of valor, and welcome to tonight's stream. And we are going to talk about, as Final so eloquently put it, backstories. When is it necessary to have it? Or what are some of your favorite backstories? We're going to discuss that as well. And if backstories are really necessary for characters. So I hope you enjoy the show.
The Deseret Bull Redneck.
Hello, everybody. I conspire to one day be the one who ruins the intro to these videos.
You can try.
Will succeed. Just you wait. You will never
We'll start-
see it coming.
We'll start with our favorite backstory. Let's start with the Lay of Valor since we're gentlemen here.
Okay, well, okay. If I had to go with favorite backstories, I'm going to go with the ones that you put on the poster. And that would be you put on the poster, you put Bucky Barnes on the poster. So I think in that case, can you guys hear me?
Yes?
Oh,
We can
okay.
hear
all
you
right.
fine, yeah. You're
Oh,
okay.
okay.
What?
I thought-
Are you saying I heard you want Bucky Barnes? Hey, Wolf, can we provide some Bucky Barnes?
Ah, great, here we go again.
Again, it's only been 2 minutes.
So I'm
Now it's been at the 4-minute mark. We're only 4 minutes into this video, we're already straight into this stuff already. And here you are. 4 minutes in, and we're already getting into the fan service.
Here he's rage in that long, luscious hair. That's not Bucky Barnes.
That was just as good, though.
Yeah,
That
okay.
was just-
Do what must be done.
right at the time you
Only
say that, that picture comes up.
Over the dark side.
That picture comes up. Okay,
Now, if you excuse me, it's time for a force bath.
right. Well, isn't that perfect timing?
I
Okay.
find your lack of
This
faith
memo of
disturbing.
Ooh, we're getting really deep here.
You have to.
We're
Destroy
keepers of the
planet
peace,
is
not
insignificant
soldiers.
next to the power of the Force.
I'm trying to find the Luke Skywalker line.
Motherfucker.
What's up, Bar One? Welcome to our chat.
The Force is strong with you, young Skywalker. But you are not a Jedi yet.
But you are not a Jedi yet. I love James Earl Jones.
Who doesn't?
Who doesn't? Yeah, who doesn't?
It would be
Probably
wise for you to surrender.
You'd be wise to surrender.
You do not know the power of the dark side.
You're I'm trying to find a Luke Skywalker quote. I can't believe I'm going blank. I'll come up one soon.
One never told you about your father.
He told me I'm not.
you.
He told me you killed him.
No, Luke. I am your father.
No. No, that's not true. That's impossible.
Search your feelings. You know it to be true.
No.
No.
Oh, boo. You
Join
want
us,
to go
join me,
party?
Luke, and we'll rule the galaxy as father and son.
You lost your hand. Pick it up.
Oh God!
But my hand fell into the pit. You also disarmed my saber too.
Pick them both up, boy.
Well, that's his line in Return of the Jedi. when he's brought to Vader and
Everything's under control. Situation normal. What happened? We had slight weapons malfunction, but everything's perfectly all right now. We're fine. We're fine here now. Thank you. How are you? We're sending a squad up. Negative, negative. We had a reactor leak here now. Give us a few minutes to lock it back down.
I don't recognize this
Large
voice.
leak,
What
very
is your
dangerous.
comm number?
Who is this? What's your operation number?
There it goes. Boring conversation anyway. Look, we're gonna have company. That was a great line, though.
That's how you write comedy, folks.
I think Harrison Ford even roughed those lines into the
he
story.
did. Yeah, he did a lot of
Wonderful
ad-libbing.
girl. Either I'm going to
He
kill
was-
her or I'm beginning to like her.
And she says, "We're gonna find that thing? Boy, you're braver than I thought."
And while they're in rebellion, if the rebels have obtained a complete technical reading of the station, it is possible, however, likely they might find a weakness and exploit it. The plans you refer to will soon be back in our hands.
How do you do Darth Vader with the filter? Oh, now I'm turning into Judge Frollo.
Aren't you a little short for a stormtrooper?
Guys, we're having fun right now. We'll get into the topic pretty
Yeah,
soon.
let's just,
Hey,
let's
but
just-
Star Wars has backstories too.
yeah, let's talk about backstories.
Okay, well, somebody, bar one,
Oh,
let
Father,
me,
let's-
I'm going to go into backstories. You said that.
Okay, motherfucker, hold your horses. Shit, it's only 6 minutes.
Yeah. Oh
This
my
is what
God,
we do, man. Jeez.
Yeah.
What I do.
We like to have fun. We like to have fun. Addressing your earlier comment about Bucky Barnes. Well, what the MCU did back then when it had a brain was with the Cap movies is I think they did a good job telling Steve's backstory and the other characters and how he became the man that he came to be. I'm also familiar with Bucky's backstory in the comics. He's had several different types of backstories. He started off as a sidekick for Cap on one of the army bases that Cap was on during World War. And then in a new issue, they went even further back into their friendship. And what we get, what the first Avenger did beautifully was we got the backstory, but they told it in a way that wasn't too long and just as concise. We know that they have been friends since their childhood. We know that they are very devoted to each other. We know that Bucky, for the most part, was tried to protect Steve, despite the fact he knew he was always getting his butt whipped in alleys. He was always there to protect him, and I got a lot of that out of the dialogue when we see him.
I could do this all day.
Yeah, that's right. Yes, good, fine. Very good. But Bucky is there to save him, which gives me the impression that he's had to do this many times. So you don't need to show me that. I can see that in that few minutes. Again, this is when Marvel had a brain. And I got from the impression that Bucky has had to do that many times, come and rescue him from his butt whippings and alleys from strangers that he couldn't back down from, but was going to fight anyway. And we also knew that he was well trained when he became a soldier. We also know that he, when it was time for Steve to rescue him after his troop was kidnapped, that it's a possibility that Zoloff may have started experimenting on him while he was captured when he came to rescue him. And we know for a fact that because you have to listen to the dialogue when he's rescuing him, when he asks him, about, he says to him, I thought you were smaller, when he thought he was dead. And then he kept asking him, did it hurt or was he in pain? And he said no. So I got the impression that he was already being started experiment on, but they didn't finish because Steve had rescued him. After he fell off the train, as we all know, Winter Soldier goes into it more, that Zola continued this experiment and eventually turned him into this fighting machine. Now, what I get from the backstory that a lot of people don't know, in the comics, it mentions that during that time he was captured by Zola after he fell off the train. He was tortured horribly by them till he was so broken down that he had no more will to survive, in order for them to eventually turn him over and make him into the Winter Soldier. That he didn't have a very glamorous life as the Winter Soldier. He was more like into a machine, a sort of
You're missing the core thing.
what?
They dropped the backstory dump on the Winter Soldier through the the title movie.
Yeah, I know, but they did it in a way that you're not overwhelmed by it because I'm able to remember all of that. In some backstories, you don't remember too many details. Maybe that's me, but you don't remember
Give
too
some
many details.
examples of how Black Widow delivers that information about the Winter Soldier.
Well, she says she was on a mission. I believe I forgot was it Israel or somewhere. She was rescuing a scientist, and the Winter Soldier was on her tail. I'm paraphrasing. I can't remember exactly, but I'm paraphrasing. They were chasing her, and I believe he blew in a car. She was with the scientist that she was supposed to be rescuing. He blew out her tires. She jumped in front of this scientist in order to try to protect him from the Winter Soldier, but she took 2 slugs from him, and that's how she became injured. She told him that they don't know his name. He seems to be a legend, but he's called the Winter Soldier. He's responsible for over 70 assassinations, and he seems to be a ghost. But she herself ran into him, which is why when she meets him again in the movie, yeah, she's fighting, but she's more like fighting to get away from him because she's petrified of what he can do because he struck her before. So she knows his abilities and what he can do. She doesn't know that as of yet that the Winter Soldier is really Bucky Barnes until she digs up the information at the end of the movie to give to Steve about him and warns him, you might want basically you might not want to go there. You don't want to pull on that thread if you know the truth of just how many people he's actually killed. So that's what I get from it. I'm paraphrasing. So, but in a nutshell, that's what I get from telling in the story. That he's perceived to be a ghost, but she says, no, he's real. He's very real because I've seen him face to face. And he gave me this injury. And she says, Soviet slugs. Can't remember the number, but she says Soviet slugs. And then when Fury has been struck and they're in the hospital and she comes there and Steve describes who the shooter was. I think that Steve says a few descriptions and she goes into it. And then the other agent, I forgot her name. She says, yeah.
Yeah.
Hill says, wow, how do you know all that? Because she's met him before and seen him before. That's the movie version. In the comics, she was trained by the Winter Soldier in the comic storyline. But in the movie version, it more had her in the Red Room. In the comics, I don't want to confuse anybody, but in the comic version of the Winter Soldier, he was the one that trained her in the Red Room. But it's that was changed when it got to the MCU.
Of course.
And plus, wait, wasn't Bucky captured by the Soviets and became the Winter Soldier instead of Hydra?
Yeah, that was in the comics.
Yeah.
That was in the comics. That's why he was.
Yeah, because it gives like the explanation of like the red star on his prosthetic arm because of course he was captured by the Soviets. But then later when he redeemed that title, became the Winter Soldier, the star became blue before going on to be Captain America for a little while before he came back.
Mm-hmm. And he went
Became
back.
an American star.
Yes.
I have a guess why they changed that in the movie. Besides, narrative consistency, I wonder if this was them trying to sell to China again.
I'm thinking that too. We know about Disney's backstory of trying to kiss butt to China. So you're probably right about that, Redneck. I kind of thought that myself was to try to make China accept that film. They did a lot of
that, but I also would say narratively, I wouldn't be too conflicted otherwise because there's no involvement of Russia anywhere in the universe. It's more coherent to tell a story with everything that is established.
He dropped another backstory dump in Age of Ultron when he came down to the twins. There's 2 of them actually. When one briefly with what's his name, Zoloff? Not Zoloff.
Baron von Strucker.
Strucker, yeah.
Yes.
When he brings up the fact that the twins outright volunteered for the project when they got their powers, and how Maria Hill explains to Steve about how their powers work, and of course in jokey form he asks in English, He runs fast and she's weird.
Hmm. And he said to the, well, we know they had to do that because they did not have the rights to the X-Men at that time, so they could not call them who they really are, which I prefer. Is they were really mutants, as we all know. They are the offspring of Eric,
And then there's moments, and
Magneto.
there's a scene where they drop their life story to Ultron.
Yes, they do. Yeah, they do. They have to come. They had to come up with a explanation. Like I said, they didn't have the rights to Peter and said, "Well, we don't have the rights to the X-Men, so we can't call them mutants." You know,
Of
so they had
course,
to come up
they're
with
called the
something.
Miracles
Yes.
because
Surgically
that sounds
enhanced or
better.
whatever. Yeah, that's what they had to call them. Which I rode that train, but I was just disappointed how it really would have been nice if they were called mutants, because that could, like, again, that's your short window into introducing the X-Men into that universe. But I understand legally that's something they couldn't do, so I had
Then
to ride the
again,
train.
they were fighting that freaking legal train since the comics.
Yeah, now they got them back in their stupid form now, and they don't know what to do. And now I'm afraid, because I fear that they're going to mess them up completely, because they're under the fluence of their own woke cane. So now they're not about telling stories anymore. So we won't
All
get the
right,
appropriate story we could have. But the point with Bucky is, since you had him a cover, is in that first film, I got everything I needed. So I think that they can't focus too much, because this is really Captain America's story. It's just Bucky is a part of that story because he is a part of that world. So we needed to get some part of that so we understand his motivations for what he does in all of three of the movies.
in your
So
words, a means to the end.
yes. So that way, I see that why that is told. Now, if you want to talk about Cap's backstory, that story is told very well. The first movie Shorter Wave is a backstory, which I enjoyed very, very well, because a lot of people say, the first Avenger doesn't do anything. Nothing is happening. Oh,
You know
that's
how prequels
boring.
work? You know how to expand your universe or something?
Thank you, Final. I get that every time I tell people, "Oh, I love the first Avenger," but it's boring. Nothing happens. What does he do? He doesn't kill people. How is that a story? And I would say,
He's not the Punisher.
yeah.
For goodness sake. Oh, and also to answer Fizz's question real quick, why did Whedon decide to kill Quicksilver? It's more so to do if you might see X-Men Days of Future past Quicksilver. That's probably why.
Legal
Yes,
reasons.
Yeah.
legal reasons.
I know this from the backstory that they originally wanted to actually kill off Hawkeye, but they were told that they couldn't kill. They told them not to kill off Hawkeye and introduced the fact that they couldn't even legally keep Quicksilver. So Joss Whedon in his script decided to write the death that was originally supposed to be Hawkeye's to be Quicksilver's. Emphasis with the line, "Bet you didn't see that coming." Falls over dead.
Yeah.
I get you. No, you're right. Redneck is absolutely right. That Hawkeye originally was the one that was supposed to have died, which is why I feel like for the rest of the films they didn't know what to do with him, because he was originally supposed to be dead. But like you said, X-Men Days of Future Past, Quicksilver, which I liked a whole lot better. And like you said, legally, so they had no choice. They had to do it like that. He's right about that. Dead on about it. But
yeah, there's one thing about Hollywood and any form of media that involves, unions, committee boards, and legal rights. It's that something is always going to pull back the punches.
Because if you look at Age of Ultron, you do get this sense of he probably was going to want to kick the bucket, because they go back to his farm and his family and all of that. And I get, as I was watching, I was saying something's going to happen to him in this movie. But then when I read about what really
I
was
got the
supposed to
impression too.
yeah, when I saw that, I said something's going to happen to him, because it's too much of story and kids, this farm and family and the dialogue and the talk and him bringing them in.
Aside from that, and especially with an end game where for some reason he becomes Ronin, not Ronin the Accuser, but the ninja Ronin.
The ninja. Yeah,
who in the comics I think was a girl, going back to Ultimate Alliance, because I think Ronin was already in there since the first Ultimate Alliance in the PS2 ports.
I'll be right back. Finally, you take over after Leia.
Okay. Yeah, because I know I do have like the first Ultimate Alliance on the Xbox 360, and there are only like 4 DLC characters, which, or no, wait, 2 sets of DLC, which are 4 villains and 4 more heroes. The 4 villains that you get in there were Magneto, Venom, Sabretooth, and Doctor Doom, who is the main villain of the game.
Mm-hmm.
But the 4 other sets of heroes that you get on the Xbox 360 version, and likely the PS3 version of the game as well, you get Nightcrawler, Cyclops, Hawkeye, and the Hulk. But in the in somewhere in the either the PS2 port or the PlayStation Portable port of the game, you can't actually play Ronin, the Ninja Ronin, again, not Ronin the Executioner, in there. But you can also play as the original. Yeah, the first Ronin was the Echo. Then the second was Hawkeye. The second he was revived. That's right.
Mm-hmm.
At least in the
Right.
comics. And then but then the other character in the PSP port, and maybe the PS2 port, was the original Captain Marvel. And Miss Marvel, the Carol Danvers Miss Marvel, she is in there in all ports of the game.
The one where she's wearing the little black suit with the lightning bolt.
Mm-hmm.
Her best look.
Yes,
Mhm.
I would agree, Ritnick. That's her best look.
They got rid
Yeah, I was
of
about
it,
to-
and now Common America's rocking it.
Yeah.
I was about to ask you, Final. Does she look feminine like she does with the leotard with the black lightning and the tall boots?
In the game?
Yes.
I mean, yeah, she absolutely
Okay.
does.
Okay.
And she
Yeah.
does have like alternate costumes, like the one suit where she's in like a completely white suit, and yet the base color of her is red, and her hair is literally on fire. She does have like her classic suit when she was with Captain Marvel before she switched with the black suit.
Oh, okay. Good. That's
Yeah,
the look I
'cause
like.
there are actually a lot of costumes. Even Spider-Man, even if you play the games, one fact, Spider-Man is freaking awesome in that game. Like when okay, the reason being is because
Mm-hmm.
whenever there'd be a character who would be flying, say Iron Man or Miss Marvel, you would normally hold down the A button or X button if you're playing on PlayStation. They'd be flying, and Spider-Man would do that too, and of course would be replaced with the swinging. He goes by fast.
Cool. That's cool to know.
And plus, he's also voiced by Quentin Flynn, who again is the voice of Raiden from the Metal Gear series, or even the voice of Axel from Kingdom Hearts. If you ever played any of those games,
Is this
those of you in the chat.
No, fans, I'm just laughing. Just like I know people always mock those characters in particular. I don't know. Good voice acting work, actually. I'll be honest. Sorry to step on you, man.
No, you're okay. Name's
You'll
Axel.
get your revenge one day.
Got it memorized. What good is intellect if you don't use it?
I'm not
Hear
familiar
that,
with it.
Nomura?
Huh?
What good is intellect if you don't use it? You hear that, Nomura?
I mean, he already does that. It's just pretty much his own writing.
The hot grease that deep fries evil. Neil Star, did he change that?
He doesn't. He changes every time. He's doing the Darkwing Duck.
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
Fizz even asked the question: Did he also voice the Human Torch? Did he also voice the Human Torch? Maybe, or maybe it's somebody else. Yeah, I think it's somebody else who voiced the Human Torch in that game, probably.
When is it too much backstory for you guys?
When they just like go overboard with it, just
Overboard, overused, at the same time when you're trying to make every character seem so relevant with everything going on. I feel.
yeah, that's
when you
But that's
overstep,
not all.
when you overstep
He's
a
also
character's purpose.
responsible for this. But that's not all. He's
But
also
wait,
responsible
there's
for
more.
this. And
That is-
also, he's your father.
Bullshit! My father's sitting in the other room. That's why I have a voice.
But finish what you're saying, Red.
I was just making a gag, but I was sitting there pondering what is
Lost.
like. I only remember the story that somebody shared with me with the director of the movie Coco when he was talking about how proud he was of the story when a student asked him what was up with the overuse of flashbacks in order to tell the story, and his immediate response is, "Wow, I remember when I was 20 and I thought I knew fucking everything." The guy is so defensive, and there's a lot of stuff I'll say that probably will get this channel in trouble. But let's just say this: that if you don't know your own idea, just. Ugh. But yes, there is such a thing as overusing a trope of trying to have backstory, which again, it's debating when it comes to the fact that backstory just becomes kind of like the canon, the mythos of when it comes to character. I'm just trying to think of those few times where it does work, and then consider the times that it's terrible.
Well, one time for me that doesn't work, and this may make me very unpopular here, but I would say in Man of Steel, because I feel at this point we don't need any more backstories on how Superman came to be. I think the audience by now knows his backstory. So I would have just dropped him into an adventure that I did not. Plus, it was. I'm sorry, Redneck. I hate to break your heart. It's not Henry Cavill, but the backstory.
Henry Cavill's not. I mean, Henry Cavill is Superman, but not in that. I mean, that movie's the story.
Yeah, the backstory. Go ahead.
The only thing I know to be real is Santa Claus. So.
Okay.
I mean, the one thing I will say that just goes overboard in Man of Steel with Superman's origins is Superman's real parents, Jor-El in particular. And the reason why I say that's pretty much overboard is because with him being the one that made the suit and him giving him the reason to be the hero instead of his adopted parents, Jonathan and Martha Kent, that kind of robs him of being raised as a human, and yet now suddenly being trained by this guy he never even met throughout his life.
Not to,
now it's suddenly giving him the
It's
opportunity to be
starting
the
a trend
hero.
of them trying to make him an allegory about illegal aliens.
And that's and that didn't work. That was disastrous.
Henry Cavill deserves better.
Yes.
The alien, basically the alien, or at least the deep heritage, mean more than the human aspect. Whereas, in the olden days, it's really what makes the man, not the alien.
So he just written them like he was like part of the X-Men or something.
Not really. You could say that. It's like I said, they're trying to get away from the Christian message and more of
Yeah.
the immigrant message.
That failed miserably. The writer should have been fired for doing that. But that's why it didn't work. That's why for some people, but for some
They're
people like
still
myself,
trying to do that.
oh yes, and that's why the movies are not working at Warner Brothers for him.
No, I'm talking about in the comics. They've still been
Yes,
working that in.
I know.
They're ditching his Christian beliefs. They're removing all allegories to Christianity. Not necessarily the Jesus thing. More so just him being a conservative person. Period. A conservative Christian at that. And they're like, do you guys not know that when immigrants come to this country, they actually become Christian over time?
Do they know the men who created Superman were immigrants, or families were immigrants? Schuessler, not Donner, but I forgot the name of the other guy. The two that did it were, and they don't know their history. The two men that created Superman, Schuller and
Joel Schuster and Jerry Schumacher.
Yes.
They were Jewish, I know.
Mm-hmm. Yes. So, but they didn't sit around when they created him. They didn't say, let's make him like it way it was for us when we were growing up in our family. No, they were more
they were more oriented onto making a hero who could protect them and do the same thing with others who need that type of hero. That's the creation of Superman in 1938. In fact, I do have the collection of the Golden Age comics that DC had been selling with a lot of their heroes. They've been doing this with Batman too, and I likely assume they've been doing this with the other DC superheroes in the Justice League.
Yeah, exactly. And like Wolf said, I don't like that idea. It disturbs me badly when they say push the Christian allegory out, put a political allegory in. I think that failed. As
It is failing. The thing is that it's gonna stick until somebody actually who cares about Superman comes in and write him as he was meant to be.
Hmm.
It's
The
worth
thing
the
is,
fact.
like, it's failing, but the thing is, they're gonna keep it anyways because they care more about the immigrant. They see, like, think about it like this: they're gonna try to ruin the Bible eventually.
Yes, I
You know that's
believe
gonna
that.
be coming. Of all the things that they're gonna try to revision, it's definitely the Bible. They're
So I
trying
heard
to do that. That's why it's separating church from state, and also, I mean, they could do whatever the hell they want with the
It kind of
Bible.
comes off as like lazy writing whenever they would write allegories because it's so easy to write one.
That, and you're seeing it in the churches, but I digress. That's another talk for another time. Let's
right.
get back
Hmm.
into backstories. For me, going back to the Man of Steel, I did not need Jor-El to be a badass.
Yes, yes, I
I
agree
didn't
with
even
you.
need him to die before Laura. Once Krypton blew up, I wanted them to die both together, hand in hand.
Hmm.
It seemed like Zach was really enamored by the idea of Jor-El being a badass.
I mean, it probably would have worked if he probably just made it like something else entirely, but it just doesn't work for DC Comics itself.
He tried to make it. He tried to change the mythology to fit himself instead of being true to the mythology the way Richard Donner did.
He wants to have it both. He wanted to have it both ways. He put him in a church and put him right in front of Jesus. But I'm like, okay,
No, yeah.
so you made Jor-El badass, but you also made Jonathan Kent a pussy.
Hmm.
And you even made Martha
Yes,
Kent somehow like the noble one instead of, or well, even though John and Martha are already noble, but just like took Jonathan Kent's role for
yes.
whatever reason. Even Lois Lane, like
Uh,
Either way, let's go on to another one where it's not needed, which is going to horror.
oh
A back,
sorry, Wolf. I was doing a quick bit of research on who did the Marvel cast, and because Fizz asked me the question of did Quentin Flynn voice Human Torch, and I did search it up. You might be surprised. It was Josh Keaton, who you might remember him as the voice of Spider-Man since the Spectacular Spider-Man cartoon. So
oh,
that answers your question. Anyways, continue.
no, thank you for that FYI.
it's this one thing that annoys me when it comes to horror too. It worked well for Freddy for one movie. It worked well for Jason because that's his whole start basically. However, I'm a little worried about what they're gonna do with Hellraiser going forward.
You should be. Yeah, that's going to
So
get retconned.
They're
But
already
continue.
by the third movie.
true, but still,
Not good.
but going, but dude, is it any worse than what they're gonna be doing in the future?
Probably not.
They're probably gonna top that shit.
I've seen what they did to one of my favorites. I was gonna say the name wrong. It's Michael Myers. I was gonna
Oh
say Michael
yeah.
Myers. They'd be like, "Oh no!" It'd
Oh
be,
yeah.
oh God, what if they did? Oh, but if they ever could bring back, never mind. It's a subject for a different matter. Different.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I didn't even like Rob Zombie's version of Michael Myers either. Just a fucking white trash family that didn't give a fuck about their own one of their kids, one or two of their kids until they died.
Like, yeah, Rob Zombie, you and your brothers are rich.
But did we need a Michael Myers backstory? Did you
Nope.
really need that? I thought the first Halloween kind of covered up what
Not
he was like,
necessarily, no.
or one and two, or not. Okay, but do we need a whole movie about Mike Myers' backstory?
They've had more information in the later films, but the
Yeah,
thing
that's
is,
what.
the remake, Rob Zombie's version, just gave him a full on backstory, and then once again, try to have it both ways, where it's trying to portray him as always evil, but we just had a sympathetic opening with him, or
Yeah,
even a backstory to the Leprechaun from the Leprechaun series.
Okay, I can't comment on the Leprechaun series because I didn't see all the films, so I don't know all the backstory with
I think
him.
the
But
recent ones gave him a bit of a backstory, and I heard they're good, but I'm like, I'm still conflicted by the fact that you guys are giving them
Oh, Quentin Flynn voiced Human
a
Torch in the
complete
90s
backstory.
Fantastic Four show?
You know,
Yes.
I'd do the same thing Wolf would do, but then I realize he's doing the thing that I do.
Yeah,
That
but
is,
What?
that is.
Looking up stuff and proclaiming what I'm reading out loud. Even I fall off the ship, sir.
that's
I'm
okay.
not even reading anything.
I'm trying to think of horror movie. I don't think I watch a lot of horror movie backstories unless they're within the movie. I don't know, guys. I never really came out of a lot of movies wondering how did he become so wicked? How did he become that? Now, a good example for me, if you want horror, is the two tellings of the backstory of Dracula. You have Bram Stoker's Dracula with Gary Oldman, which is Francis Ford Coppola's at the beginning of that movie.
Very different, but I love that movie.
Yeah, I do. I do enjoy that very much. I do. But I like the way Francis Ford Coppola did it because he did it within the movie. The whole and the whole movie wasn't his backstory. The exposition comes at the beginning, almost like a fairy tale, almost like the beginning. It's kind of like the beginning of Beauty and the Beast. It's just twisted. Once upon a time in a faraway land, there was this war, and there was this prince who had to protect his people, but he had a vicious and bloodied war. But when he came back, he saved the lives of all his civilians. When he came back, he lost the woman that he loved, and in such anger that he lost the woman that he loved, that he cursed God, and by cursing God, he was turned into this creature of darkness. That's basically the
Bram
backstory
Stoker.
of Dracula,
Vlad.
because in the novel we don't really get a Dracula backstory. So I can
It's kind
see
of more
why people
complicated than that.
in the novel by Stoker or what Francis Ford Coppola did.
Often I keep hearing people who keep thinking that it was intentional that Dracula was named after Vlad the Impaler, but believe it or not, it's actually a huge coincidence. Vlad the being an actual Transylvanian prince who fought was it the Ottomans or I guess it was the Ottomans.
It was the Ottomans, but I think Stoker was. Go ahead.
The thing is that when it came to picking the name, as I believe the inspiration for Dracula was more inspired by the unsolved murders of Jack the Ripper. But as it would be, is that when he named the character Dracula in the Transylvanian language, it's a loose term used to refer to the devil himself, where Dracula and Vlad Tepes's use was actually reference to him being the son of the dragon, as his father was Dracul, the dragon. It was their intended plan to always conspire against the Ottomans and take back their kingdom from them.
You're not far off. When Stoker went there to research for his story, he read the history of Vlad Tepes, and that research. Okay. Yes, that is why you're not far off. He was inspired by that legend of
Vlad. I am a dragon. You do not treat me that way.
Or Vlad the Impaler, is I like to call him, where he's so famously called.
I'm quoting a certain Targaryen.
Well, I would say this: if that was the case, and that does play in the respectful presentation of Dracula originally just being an elderly man with a mustache. People either just want to do clean shaven like Bela Lugosi, or they want to just say full goatee. Fuck you, mustaches.
Speaking of Game of Thrones, George R. R. Martin is pretty much a you can almost say he's mastered that when it comes to speaking exposition or backstories about certain characters in his stories.
Yeah, because you can't go forward with them.
Unfortunately.
He's treating you guys really badly as fans. I read something about him today. He's really, really.
I still need to get through Fire and Blood. I'm still in the Dance of Dragons right now, currently.
Outside of Game of Thrones, I'm playing the Elden Ring game that he supposedly was supposed to help with the writing. And I'm just being told that every moment in the game that I felt the story was being pulled back for stupid reasons, I'm told that was George's doing. And then all the moments I was impressed and happy with, those were Hidetaka Miyazaki's. Okay, so George R. R. Martin is a hack. Got it.
I mean, yeah. I mean, he was pretty bitter when they didn't let him finish the last novel before, what was it, season 7 of the Game of Thrones show was about to finish up. even though he gave them the notes to do that. Because really, the popularity of the show has done more harm than good than pretty much anything.
Can
Oh,
you
we know.
expound? Can you? Um, why do you say that? I'm curious. Final. Why do you say that?
Why do I say that?
Yes.
Well, mainly because of how
See, I was
like
never a
he
big
pretty
Game
much.
of
I
Thrones
think it's because he
fan.
didn't
Hang on.
really expect it.
Okay,
Yeah, I was never really a Game of Thrones fan either, but I
go
think it's
ahead.
because of like he never really expected to go in popularity since the show, but like
He's been writing this since the 90s.
wait, oh, it's been written since the 90s.
Hmm.
Yep.
He's been writing since 80s, actually, right?
Hmm,
Like late 80s. And most of the stuff he brought out came out in the
not really sure
90s.
though. I hadn't really done my research on
Yeah,
Game of Thrones really.
he's been writing that stuff. He's been writing it that long, dude.
He just sound like a typical person, but I kind of wonder if money had something to do with it. The moment the guy got money, he wants to go out and use it. That's why
Mm.
he's distracted.
Well, he did
That's
dip
what I'm.
his fat ass in a pool every once in a while.
That's
Oh
what
then, but anyways, but then
Oh, this is. I can float myself in this pool.
they.
I mean, you can finally create
what
bones.
just like swimming in a bath of money like Scrooge McDuck.
No, he's just in a
Yeah.
literal pool, water. You know.
Literally in a pool.
Oh,
But
I
you're
know he's
not.
already guy's a fatty himself. Just imagine him already floating there.
I mean yeah, he is pretty thick.
Yeah, this is his own thing.
Anyway, but anyways, yeah, and then the show came out since early 2000s or the somewhere in the early 2010s on HBO.
Hmm.
Yeah.
See, I was
And
never
then
a Game of.
that's how it started growing in
Hang on,
popularity
Leia.
pretty much with every season. And yet that's when it started growing in popularity and everybody loved that show. Oh, since 2011, so it was early 2010s. Anyways, um
First
and
impression I
then
got was the fact that freaking Bran walked it, just climbed up and spotted Cersei and Jamie getting it on. I was like, oh fuck, this is awkward. And then Jay drops him off a freaking window. I was like, oh fuck, why you do that, dude?
yeah.
That was my reaction initially when that happened. I was like, why the fuck you do that? That was a
Gotta take
boy.
horrible secret.
Of course.
Right.
Not saying he
Things
did
I
the same
do for
thing.
love.
While I'm interrupting, was that a slip of your tongue, by the way, or slip of force of habit there? You were telling me, "Shut up, Brett," and I didn't even say anything.
I didn't say red. I said, hang on, Leia.
Oh,
She was jumping in while Fine was still going into it.
well, respectfully, back to you.
Anyway,
Keep going, Final.
Hmm.
right. And then I think since the show steadily started declining in later seasons, um not that it was like going like so badly like quickly or anything, is it just felt like it was just almost like a plummet within the quality, if that makes sense.
Yep.
Let's digress real quick. There's one backstory that I know that's now part of the canon, loose canon, but I kind of wish it never happened. And it's Riddick, the Chronicles of Riddick. Anybody remember that movie?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, I saw the first one. I didn't need to
Pitch
see
Black.
Pitch Black, and then I saw that, and I saw the first Riddick sequel, but not after that because I just didn't find the character interesting outside of the Pitch Black story.
Well, the
Go
thing
on.
is that's where things kind of almost fell off with me when it came down to Chronicles of Riddick. When we went to see that, because we seen both of those movies in the theaters, and the second time we saw it, not second time, the moment I can't words. Okay, let me rewind that. I was young boy, and I'm sitting here watching Chronicles of Riddick. This is after I seen Pitch Black, and I was like, "Wait, Furion? What's this Furion thing? What the fuck is he supposed to be? Wait, hang on. Since when? It's one of those since when moments. Movie pet peeve. One of my movie pet peeves. since when moments. So like the more they bring up him being a Fury, and I was like, since when, motherfucker? And since when you got to deal with these freaking nutsos that want to turn you into a painless death loving motherfuckers? Since what? And it and then if you're lucky enough to get the unrated version, this motherfucker got a superpower. He got energy burst ability. I was like, oh hell to the no. Also, they got a hand marking on their chest to also tell, like, hey, did you know he's Furion? It says the handprint says it all. He's Furion. Fizz, you and I can agree to disagree on Riddick, the movie Riddick. I actually like that movie, but there are some things
Wait,
I
was
would
his name
still criticize about
Furion
it.
or is it just Furion?
He's a Furion.
Furion.
That's his race. A race of people that are just uber
Oh,
killers, uber
I thought that was his name.
cutthroats.
Like his
No,
Oh,
wait,
his full
Fury?
name is no his real name. His full name is Richard B. Riddick. They have normal names for some reason.
Dick
Hmm.
Rick.
Despite the fact that they come from a planet called Furia, which is, from what I heard in the lore, it's a harsh planet too, where
I mean,
survival
given that it has Fury in the name, so yeah.
Furia, not Furion, Furia. Anyways, he's the one unique one that survived. They also for some reason they come out the womb with the umbilical cords wrapped around their neck. Oh wait, no, that was Laura Marshall that did that. I'm not doing a good job explaining this, guys.
You trying to kill babies?
Well, no, there the necromonger Lord Marshall, before he became the Lord Marshall, he had he heard a prophecy that a Furion would kill him. Only that's like the only species of man that can actually stop a necromonger, because they have a knack for killing. So he went over to their planet and fucked their shit up. And for the babies, he strangled them with the umbilical cords because he took delight in killing them because he hated them so much. Over the fact that there's a prophecy that foretells them killing a Fury and killing him, which he eventually Riddick kills him. But the thing is that, like I said, the thing is that we never knew beforehand. We never knew that much about Riddick from the first movie, other than he's a escape convict. He also's been incarcerated so many times for killing people a lot because he's a murderer.
Yep.
But what's the mystique about Riddick is the fact that he has a moral code. He has he has a set of principles, what have you, you know. And he's freakishly like gifted in killing.
He's a Vin Diesel character.
Man, that was before Kung Fu Panda 2. Keep up, Fizz.
You're right, Redneck. He's a Vin Diesel character.
Pretty much. He was the only Vin Diesel character until Fast and the Furious.
What was that? I don't know. I don't want to talk about Vin Diesel all night. Just remember, there's that one movie where they changed the protagonist simply because Vin Diesel demanded it.
Which one was that?
It was something with sorcerers or something. What was it called?
Oh, the Last Witch Hunter.
Yes.
That horrible film. Vin Diesel's just not a good actor. I'm sorry.
I like that film because it was so stupid.
It's funny because I'm actually hearing news about the recent Fast and the Furious movie, where as much as everybody would like to think Brie Larson's the one who ruined the production, the director can say Vin Diesel's doing that himself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he thinks too much of himself. He thinks he's a bigger star than he really is. He's not. He is not.
Okay, now let me tell you this. Since we're on backstory that just felt forced or felt out of nowhere. What about backstories that did come in later that you guys were very satisfied with?
Later. I'm only was thinking about, for me personally, I was still thinking about a point where backstory is like, what is the point of a backstory if it doesn't even help the character or make anything intriguing?
So which one helped the character more than it hurt?
It helped the character more than it hurt.
Can this be in comic books or novels, not just film and television?
Yeah.
Any way could work.
What do you think we're always talking about? Everything goes, girl.
Okay. Well, I mean, I don't want. Does anybody want to go before me before I start? If you've got it.
Yeah, I'm
Articulating
thinking of one right now.
but I'm not ready to go.
Tron Legacy for me.
Oh, good one. I like Tron Legacy. I would agree on that. That film was better than I thought it was going to be. That film was way better than I was going to be. It was a great
Where they
backstory for Bridges.
where they kind of helped out expand the grid more,
Yes.
expand more to what the grid can do, or what the cyber world can do, especially with the ISOs entering into the world and opening a lot of possibilities. Flynn's abilities within the grid as a user, and hell, Tron Uprising enhances that stuff.
Tron Legacy is one of the most visually stunning films I think I've ever seen, especially in the realm of science fiction.
But did you watch Tron Uprising?
I don't remember seeing Tron. Was that made into a movie?
That was a cartoon.
You know,
Yeah,
I
it
don't
was a
think I
TV
saw that.
program. I just researched it right now. Back in 2013.
hmm
I'm afraid I did not see that.
I think
I
it was
didn't
was
know.
it Ted Mouse doing the animation for that one?
I believe so.
There you go.
Are you talking about the one that did
Uh,
Zima Blue from Love, Death,
it was released back
Love,
in
Death and
Disney.
Robots?
Talk about the people who did Motor City and Mega
Yep,
XLR.
same person,
Little studio, but okay. Okay.
same studio. Motor City is
Same
good. Y'all
director
should
as
check
you
that one out too. Motor City.
The if Murdoch wasn't a gross green man, is what I describe that protagonist.
I love it when a plan goes together. Wait, wrong Murdoch. Wait, did Murdoch say that catchphrase on the A-Team?
No, I don't think
No,
so.
that was Cannibal. I
No,
mean,
Murdoch
Hannibal.
from the
Hannibal,
gorillas,
excuse
the
me.
faces. He talks like
Another
gay,
prime example of
gaily
a
and
back.
ugly. He's kidnapped a man and lost his eyeballs and disfigured him and thought, man, this guy should be my lead vocalist. For those who aren't acquainted with the story of the gorillas, 2D is a kidnappee.
Yep.
Red Sorceress asks, what's the saddest backstory you've ever seen? I think this ties into what we're saying right now, like what pretty much like added to the character's backstory more than it hurt it. To me, I'd pretty much say Anakin Skywalker / Darth Vader from Star Wars.
I would say, yeah, good choice, Finn. That's a good one. Yes.
It's tried, but it works. Now you say it. Like it's a trial to get through those prequels, but yeah.
We won't revisit that here.
I'm not in the camp of saying that they were good, but I'm just saying they could easily have been better.
We all agree on that.
We all agree on that. It's not the worst thing ever seen. They're more of disappointments. I call them disappointments.
Child brings up Cobra Kai, which I agree.
All right.
Gives a different. Well, number one, it also gives a different perspective too.
Movies full of bad backstories. I remember is Indiana Jones. And how often they bring, like, even the subtlest stuff is just brought up through the moments and through characters' actions.
How is that so? Do you mean the opening of The Last Crusade when we see him as a child and he goes?
No, I love stuff like Raiders of the Lost Ark, where you finally meet Marion. She's already she's running a barkeep in the middle of Nepal. She's already trying to she's making money, just taking shots. Just seems like she's kind of in a sorry wreck of a way, but it seems like she's still in control. But when Indiana Jones come back, that's when she's expanding about how this is the guy who screwed her over. And I'm also trying to think of other facts. Like, I love how that being tied into the fact when they're dealing with the bad. What's the villain's name? She tries to use the same technique against him, only for him to outdrink her because he grew up on the wine versus her, just going into a depression. A lot of her life was just messed up because of one guy.
Mm-hmm. I see. Okay.
What else would I say? I could try to think of my other favorite.
It's like gravity, and all it takes is a little push.
Glad you bring that up. The Joker definitely with his fucking twisted ass backstories.
He has multiple. I think the idea that he stays a mystery is kind of the better deal.
I mean, yeah, even when it's Yeah, his backstory is always like kept very vague, especially when it comes to many most trickster villains anyway. Even when they do have like a pretty good motivation like Loki in Norse mythology or even in Marvel Comics, it's kind of thin and towards motivation.
Agreed.
Well, if I had to pick a sad backstory, it would be Eric Linksler from the First Class movies. Even though
Oh.
yeah, it, yeah, Magneto's backstory. Even though Magneto unfortunately learned the wrong lesson from it, it's still tragic what happened to him. Very tragic. And even when you see in First Class how he was experimented on as well.
I had an idea for a backstory, but then I realized that throughout the entire movie, they never really address it. They only have it as background flavor, and people pick up on it very easily.
But that's not a bad thing, right, Nick?
And I definitely agree with Child of the Flowers commentary. Saddest backstory, Mr. Freeze. Classic sympathetic villain right there, Mr. Freeze.
Oh, yes. I'm just debating if this works in the subject, but you guys have seen The Iron Giant?
Yeah.
I have heard about it. I know about it. I haven't seen it.
That movie is the movie that made me want to be an animator. I was gonna say is that a lot of times, like, it's never shown throughout, like, it's never really like put in your face, but you see little details in the background as well as Hogarth playing with props. Like throughout the movie, you see him playing with looks like an aviator's helmet. Only for, and then when you go, like, when panning through the house, you would see like portraits of the man who's on a plane where holding that same helmet. And you're supposed to have that realization that this is supposed to be Hogarth's dad. This guy is dead, and that leaves Hogarth, fatherless, and his wife, a widow. They never, and it's interesting because they took it out because it was just bogging on the story. But the part that was impressive is for the audiences to be able to pick up on that and immediately understand what it means.
Yeah, I agree with you. That's why I say with some backstories, you don't have to go into detail after detail after detail. If you hit it with the right mood, it will have the effect. As you say with Mr. Freeze, his backstory is very tragic. It also just like I was saying with Magneto, he unfortunately part of his what happened in his past molded him into who he was, and he couldn't deviate from that. He became the monster he became the monsters that made him. So there is a little bit of a tragedy when it comes to that, and it didn't take it down to his very breath in Days of Future Past to realize that all that fighting meant nowhere. And look what it's become, because he could not,
Dry your tears, Leia.
Well, I'm just saying with that backstory, that's what I could think of.
Here, have a Wolverine.
Oh my God.
Ooh, trypophobia.
Oh my goodness. I'm just following along with Redneck. He had his tragic
and has some Thor too.
Okay, I'll take a dose of Thor as well.
But where it pays off, I was gonna say, as for the Iron Giant, where it pays off is that when you realize this is the setting for this character, it kind of easily explains why the character Annie, Hogarth's mother, is easily hitting it up with Hogarth's new friend Dean, the artist junkyard worker.
Oh, I love him.
He's one of the best characters.
What you currently have in your mouth is art.
You didn't set it up right. He's
Go
like,
ahead.
He's like, now there's two kinds of scrap in this. There's two kinds of scrap in this yard: scrap and art. If you have to eat one of them, eat the scrap. But what you currently have in your mouth is art. Art. Oh, forget it, and he just plants it down like a tree. And looks like, that's not bad.
Yeah, he's easily my favorite character. You never got that impression until you got to his junkyard.
Which part?
About Dean
being an artist.
Yeah, like you,
nah,
like
you don't.
Like that was the biggest subversion of expectations right there. Like he's this motorcycle driving bad boy that his mom's gonna end up with at the end. But you see that he has. But you see he has a artist soul in him.
His introduction, he just seemed like a dumped up beatnik.
Mm-hmm.
But that was the initial impression people were getting. But that was the point.
Dalek's comments right there.
trying to think of other sad backstories. I had a subject regarding backstories that didn't even need to happen at all.
Oh, I
Scooby
got
had
one. I got one. I got one.
Go ahead.
Up.
Oh, that's a good
Oh,
That
yes.
montage.
the one where the hipsters say the movie's good for the first 10 minutes. It's a fun movie throughout, but yeah, those first 10 minutes are the most effective.
Man, oh man. I look back at that scene now. I get choky. I choke up.
Who doesn't?
At first, when I was slightly younger, I look at that and be smiling and just know hitting the right moments, right? Just knowing what's going on, what's really up and up, right? But now when I look back at it, I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm all like teary eyed and everything. It's like, oh shit, I didn't even think revisiting this would actually. Mm. Oh goodness. Oh, it's coming. Oh
Full
my
of thoughts
goodness.
of what could ultimately be
Especially
It
that
sounds
fatal.
like you're trying to throw up more than you're crying. Like, oh god, oh god, I'll be right back.
I'm tearing up thinking about it right now. I'm actually at the part where what's his face is at the funeral,
uh,
alone in the church.
uh, uh, Mr. Fredrickson.
Yeah, Mr. Fredrickson. Oh
Played
my
by the late
goodness,
Ed Asner.
the late Ed Asner. Oh
Hmm.
man. Oh no, not no no no. I got to cheer us up now.
There you go. I
What was
feel
Yeah,
bad.
because
that?
that's totally something that would cheer us up by pulling up a sign that said you died.
Yes.
And to answer your question, Leia, where that's from, I think that's yeah, it's from Dark Souls.
It is.
Oh, okay. Yes, wonderful. Cheer us up with Wolf. Show us a dark screen that says we dive on Dark Souls. Oh my goodness, I am just so enthused now.
Love that From Software has made that their official trademark. Every game.
That is supposed to cheer us up. I thought it'd be something happy music.
Oh, Child's got one of my favorite
Hmm.
villains. Tywin Lannister, a
Yes.
ruthless patriarch who had to live with the truth his kids are idiots. His legacy is a dork who killed his wife.
Oh my god.
Why do I get the feeling that I'm not knock on wood because I don't want to jinx it. But every time I think of Martin, I always had this feeling that before you even get to finish his fifth or sixth or seventh book, it's gonna go the way of Titles Lannister. Just going upstairs one day to get some dicking done, and then he just has a stroke and falls down the stairs.
Oh my god.
If you want to really get really dark.
Whatever gave you that?
I'm just saying, sometimes you could tell a lot about a person by the way how they write. I
Yes,
mean,
you
a lot of
can.
people like to think Tyrion is his spirit animal when he writes them, but I'm like, I think Titles was his spirit animal.
Lots of writers use themselves and their own lives when they write. Anne Rice used a lot of her, there's a lot of her spirituality, believe it or not, in her Vampire Chronicles novels. There's a lot of incidents. Of course, Claudia was modeled after her unfortunate sad tragedy where her daughter died of leukemia at 4.
Mm.
So that was subconsciously her way of dealing with the death of her daughter, her only daughter. And other parts of her books dealt with her struggle with Catholicism. And it comes through within her characters. She said herself in an interview that Lestat is her way of looking at the world.
That mostly comes from the thing how writers write their stories is because they write what they know.
Yes.
Of course.
Yes.
Like
And
So she thinks we all are equally pathetic. That's good to know, and that's really good to know.
I
I
don't think
agree.
so.
I agree with that sentiment too.
I don't think she thinks we're pathetic. I think
I
I
mean, if
don't
you
think
listen to
so.
how Lestat talks, I mean, she said that's herself, right? And you can't argue with that. I mean,
She's
I,
the stat and she's Lewis. She wrote Lewis while she was in mourning
why
of
you
her
always call him
daughter.
like that?
Lewis Lewis is
It,
his name, Lewis.
Louis. He's
Louis.
Creole.
Oh, okay. Louis.
You forgot, girl. He Creole. It's
I know.
Louis.
No, that he's
French.
Louis.
Think French. Think French. Louis.
Louis. She wrote
You grew up in the
Louis.
South where there's a lot of Creole there. You know that, right?
Say that again.
I say you grew up in the South where there's a lot of Creole, right? You know that, right?
Yes. Yes. Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Yes, in New
Yeah,
Orleans.
just Louis. Think King Louis or King Louis. Yeah, King Louis from the Jungle Book.
I was about to
That's
bust into my King Louis impression, but you know what? I'm gonna
Well,
rest
Louis
my
the
voice.
16th. From a show I used to watch called Versailles. Very good show. Well, Louis was her way of dealing with the death of her daughter, and she was struggling with her Catholicism, which is the way she was raised. So Louis was an expression of that struggle, and you see it in the book with Louis and
Well,
his
that's a nice
struggle
backstory for her.
with death and life and living, and him being a vampire himself, and why he chose to become one. Lestat is also herself because she says he is her window and how he looks at the world. And by hearing her biography, there's a little bit of Lestat in Anne, but I don't think she sees us as incompetent. I don't get that.
I didn't say that. She said we're equal. She's saying we're equally pathetic, and that's all fine and dandy for me.
I don't think she thinks we're pathetic. I think that is, well, everybody gets their own impression. I didn't think that
I
impression.
would have been at if she was doing a convention, I'd be like, "Hey, Ann, go ahead and do the thing. Good night, sweet prince."
well, since we were discussing like sad backstories, we already discussed some sad backstories with villains. How about heroes with sad backstories? How about those?
Guts come to mind, even though it's debatable whether he's a hero or not.
Speaking of Guts, that'd be the entirety of the Dark Souls series,
right?
Peter Parker losing Uncle Ben.
Origins.
That's tragic.
That's mostly origins, yeah.
The way it is how he became what he became.
Backstories as the stories progresses. I'm sorry to cut into you like that, Leia.
That's okay. That's all right. But when you meant see guys, see for me when I look at backstories, I look
Inuyasha, that's a good one.
Yeah, I'll get into that in a bit.
Sorry, Leia.
No, you're fine. I don't want to hog the whole conflap. So if you got to get in there,
no.
Jump in there.
Get your stuff in because you already started anyways. Might as well finish it.
Well, when I think of tragic, for some heroes, their backstories is tragic, but it's what they become out of it. A good say would be, of course, the most famous one is Bruce Wayne. How he became who he could be is the loss of his parents, of course, the death of his parents. What did Scooney lose? Yes, Scooney, she's of two minds. They're both sides of her personality.
Yeah, Inuyasha is a good example of a hero with a pretty sad backstory. Not every hero and villain has to have tragic backstories, of course.
Yes, I agree with that.
They can have tragic circumstances.
Yeah, like one example I could think of, and I pretty much would think of like a hero with a sad backstory, Harry Potter. Pretty much losing his own family, even when he was a baby. But even throughout the books, he was even surrounded by his fame, which he hated the most. Like it was in the Chamber of Secrets, specifically the Chamber of Secrets book, where Guild Ward Lockhart was pretty much like showcasing Harry.
Hello, everyone.
Oh, hey, Eloise.
Hello.
I was about to introduce your ass, but okay, jump me to the punch. Why don't you?
And Final was even talking.
The Bear of the North, Eloise Dotto.
How's it going, everyone? I'm walking my dog.
Missed an hour's worth of shit.
I was in class.
I mean, as we saw in the chat, so
you're a bear and you don't eat the dog.
Oh my god, Rick. By the way, Eloise, Final was giving did you want to continue, Final? I was listening to you. So
yes, sure.
Mute yourself real quick, Eloise, because we can still hear your background.
Sorry.
You're okay. But anyways, yeah, it was specifically in the Chamber of Secrets novel where Gilderoy Lockhart, who is that year the second year teacher for the dark arts, defense against the dark arts, where
Heck yeah.
yeah, he exploits not or no not exploits tells Harry about fame, which he hated the most, and yet he was even embarrassed by it, and yet of course he's been surrounded by this every single time when they see him, when they gossip gossip behind his back, tell him that about the famous, like they want his autograph because they see his fame. And the reason why he hates it is because that reminds him of the time that he lost his mom and dad to the Dark Lord, Lord Voldemort. That's why he hates it so much, because yes, that reminds him of the time he became an orphan.
Oh, okay. Yeah. There's a backstory for you right there. But I'm not familiar with the Harry Potter books, but I assumed that he rose from the tragedy of that backstory. Eventually, he had to confront it at the when the movies he had to confront that. But maybe you can
Not
explain that more since I
More
never
than
read
that,
them.
he's actually the one who's willing to confront it while everyone else is trying to protect him from it, thinking he's safe for not knowing the truth.
Oh yeah, because he's confronted by that every single time. Like every single
The
time
boy
he's
who
always reminded.
lived.
Yeah, every single time he's
Come
reminded.
to die.
Yeah, he's reminded by that every single time whenever they talk about his fame or call him by any of the titles, like the boy who lived. Even just so far on October 31st was the day that his parents died, and yet he survived. That is basically what he hated the most.
Can't be more than that shadow of a tragic event.
Right.
Right.
Okay, here we go.
Oh.
Oh, such a handsome boy. Don't touch him!
Oh.
Harry! I'd almost forgot you were here. Standing on the bones of my father, I'd introduce you, but rumor has it, you're almost as famous as me these days. I don't think I nailed that pitch.
Harry, boy, I don't know. I haven't seen the movies in a while. I don't even.
I'm going to kill you, Harry Potter. I'm going to destroy you. After tonight, no one will ever again question my power. After tonight, they speak of you. If they speak of you, they'll only speak of how you begged for death and how I beat. Shit.
You'll get it.
I swear,
Such a
the
handsome
words,
boy.
the words is carrying dyslexia.
Don't touch him! Potter.
You will lose everything. The boy who lived. How lies have fed your legend. Harry, do you want to know what really happened 13 years ago? I shall divulge how I truly lost my powers. It was love. You see, when dear sweet Lily Powder gave her life for our only son, it provided him with the ultimate protection. I could not touch him. It was old magic, something I should have foreseen. But no matter, things have changed. I can touch you now. Oh! Ah! Outstanding! What a few drops of your blood will do, eh, Harry? Don't you turn your back on me, Harry Potter. I want you to look at me when I kill you. I want to see the light leave your eyes. Have it your way. Avada Kedavra Expelliarmus!
Even the special effects.
Going from Harry Potter to now Star Wars music.
I mean,
yes, and how do we come
I
to
mean,
that?
I mean, how the hell your mind don't go there when they fucking did that freaking beam lock? Like the moment they freaking use their wands, you don't think somebody needs to do an edit of that with the freaking duel of fates, especially Voldemort versus Dumbledore.
I
Oh
heard
no,
that Voldemort versus Dumbledore was more intense in the books, like that confrontation in the Ministry.
please elaborate.
I can't.
Are you talking about the fight with Dumbledore and Voldemort in Order of the Phoenix?
Yep.
Okay.
I'm more
Yes,
familiar with the movies than I am the books.
Mm.
that fight was still good though.
Like there was more like transfiguration involved.
Stuff just flushed.
Mark, I was just about to get into Zuko. Zuko from Avatar: Last Airbender.
And then the sequels fucked it up.
Mm-hmm.
That
Whack.
was supposed to be a joke, right?
Found leaving a hidden message in the private chat.
Oh, what
Going
what
like a
you
drill.
do now?
Okay. I'm gonna get this out of my system. Last Voldemort impression. Welcome, my friends. 13 years it's been, and yet here you stand. If it was only yesterday, I confess myself disappointed. Not one of you tried to find me. Crap! Macna! Goyle! Not even you, Lucius. Ah, my lord, had I detected any sign, a whisper of your whereabouts? Oh, there were signs, my slippery friend, and more than whispers. I assure you, my lord, I have never renounced the old ways. The face I have been obliged to present since your absence. That is my true mask. Okay, y'all can applaud now or whatever.
I was waiting
Just
for you
they're
to finish.
forgetting that the whole reason that Draco Malfoy was friends with the other characters because their dads are all part of the same country club.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yep. Country club. That's one way to put it.
I like Donald's comment. You play around too much, Wolf. Tom Riddle is perfect foil to Harry, where both have faced hardships due to both have bloods, but how they came out of it diverges greatly.
It's
Am I wrong
like
to think that
Absolutely.
it's like Naruto and Gaara, like the comparison.
So great. That's a really good comparison. So let's get into Zuko's backstory real quick from Avatar: Last Airbender. You want to take that away, Eloise, since you've been our guest of honor?
Um,
Um.
Damn, it's been a while since I watched Avatar. Essentially, Zuko was vanished from the Fire Nation because he questioned his father's abilities to command, like the orders that he gave the soldiers during during a tactical meeting.
Yep, a war meeting.
Yeah, a war meeting, a war council. Council.
Well, they counseling people in there. Okay.
Well, I mean, they canceled Zuko technically.
But they keep council.
That's unbelievable.
She told her funny. She told her funny, everybody.
All right,
Hey,
so
BGC. Welcome, everybody. BGC is with us.
hello, BGC. Welcome.
Evening.
Welcome,
Finish what you're
BGC.
saying. Hey,
Welcome.
let her finish what she's saying.
All right, so during the war council meeting, Zuko questioned an admiral's decision, and
In front of the Fire Lord.
yeah, in front of the Fire Lord, not knowing
Ozai.
that, yeah, in front of Ozai, not knowing that those were the orders that Ozai presented I'm not sure if the admiral and
It was a suggestion that the admiral had placed with, which was pretty much a war of attrition, where they used recruited soldiers as cannon fodder to fight the Earth Kingdom. And Zuko, having a compassionate heart, said, "You cannot just throw our soldiers like that, willy nilly like that." And when challenged by his ideal versus the admirals, Zuko proposed an Anakai against the admiral. But when he was away his Anakai, he was presented with the Fire Lord, his father,
A
his
puppet.
Faja. I'm gonna get into that in a bit. So Zuko presented with that dilemma, didn't want to fight his father, and the only reason why he was fighting his father in that court was the fact that he disrespected his father in front of him.
Yeah, or going by Fizz's comment, Zuko dared question his father's orders as Zuko showed morality in not wanting to sacrifice the rookie troops, but Ozai saw morality as a weakness. Pretty
That's
much the
scratching it. But what I'm saying is he dared speak out of turn in a war meeting.
I mean, you could pretty much apply this with his sister Azula, as she's pretty much follows the same things as Ozai.
Yep, yeah, exactly. In that, but that's the reason why he had the chance to Fire Lord, because any direct insult in the War Council is a direct insult to the Fire Lord. I don't think Leia's seen this show.
No, I have not, so I can't really give you too much info on that.
Well, no. Are we selling this whole story to you?
It does sound interesting, yes.
So, given the fact that his and to make matters worse or insult to injury, Zuko is showing cowardice now. First he shows disrespect. Now he's showing cowardice in the Agnikai, and he's trying to force his son to fight him. You know, and his son outright refuses because that's family. And so with these words, he burned he burned Zuko's face for his troubles. You will learn respect, and suffering will be your teacher. Still gives me chills every time I hear that.
It is a chilly line.
I mean, it's delivered by Mark Hamill himself.
Didn't
Wait,
know he
Mark
voiced
Hamill
him.
was the voice of Ozai?
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Play the Chinaman.
Wait, I thought the Fire Nation was based on Japanese culture.
Yeah.
Okay, he played a Jap then.
Yeah, because
A lot of
Zuko's attire looks like he's Japanese because
It's
all
a
the characters.
mixture of Jap and Chinaman.
And
Yeah,
even
because
some even some Korean to some extent.
because a lot of the characters' designs on the way they're
Look,
designed
man, we
are
could
based
we
on.
could talk about that shit all day in the stream. Come on,
If
man.
anything really looks like China, it would be the Earth Kingdom.
Obviously,
Yeah,
yeah.
because Toph it does look like she's Chinese.
I mean, her last name is Beifong. I don't think you can get more explicit than that.
Yeah, because
The
as I was about to
Japanese and Korean.
say,
Look, motherfuckers, when we have an Avatar stream, then bring that information in.
Whoa.
Well, what's keeping you from making that stream?
Fuck you. It's your turn.
Fuck you. Here comes the Dante and and the succubus.
Fuck you!
goddamn.
Avatar stream coming soon.
Yeah, but when will that be? Soon as he comes back to visit his family in the next few weeks.
Of course, to quote Nat Go specifically regarding Ozai, narcissist much?
Well, yeah.
With a bit of Hindi, I think. Who the fuck said chink?
Who said what?
I said Chinaman.
Who said what? Who's using racial slurs? You're a bad person.
It was Fizz in the chat.
Shut up.
No, he brings up chink. I'm like, when have you ever heard that? I said Chinaman. Get it right.
Oh.
Hey, that's racist. Why? Because you can't say that about Chinamen.
You can chine a piano, but you cannot chine a man.
No, the Chinamen.
Lame joke
Ooh.
aside, that backstory from the episode The Storm, that was really good. Of course, coinciding
Aang's
with
backstory.
yep, that and the Avatar in the Fire Lord episode in season 3. Gosh, that get that
Oh,
that
Iroh's backstory.
not
Backstory. Oh,
Iroh.
backstory.
No,
Okay.
not. I mean, during the
Avatar
Luton.
Road.
Oh, Avatar. No, but like Iroh's backstory, like Luton.
The Dragon of the West, the tragedy of
Yeah.
the Dragon of the West, as I like to call it. Oh God, yeah, yeah.
The Fire Nation treats it like they lost one of their greatest generals, but the general lost his greatest choice.
Hmm.
It's not a. It's never. It's not about the war.
Oh boy, and hearing Mako's passing, that fucked me up.
As best described, the lack of his dialogue
You
throughout.
guys didn't hear that, right?
What?
No, leaves from the vine, falling so slow, like fragile tiny shells, drifting in the foam. Little soldier
Thank you,
boy,
Fizz. Wait,
come
I saw.
marching home.
Mm.
Brave soldier boy comes marching home. Sorry, I was trying to do my best Iroh crying impression.
Was that Zuko's
So
own?
I always have to go to the character of Aku to think of Mako's voice. Oh, the samurai warrior! Now, there you go. Now you can be Uncle Iroh.
Of course, they had to change them. They had to recast them after Mako's passing.
Yeah, they did. Who said this?
Fizz.
I'm gonna say my favorite detail is the fact that kind of in I don't know if it's actually it is intentional. The whole fact they handled the passing of Mako as as a moment of silence for the character by having
Hmm.
his character be silent throughout the first parts of the third season. Like they already found somebody they could line up. The idea is they had to let it sit, let it roll.
Right. But I thought you were angry with me. I was never angry with you. I only I only knew shit.
He speaks a decent. He can enunciate the letters fine. It's just he still has that Asian cadence. You speak very old, very strange. That's the wow. That sorry. That just sounded weird in my head.
How about this backstory? Between the time when the oceans drank Atlantis and the rise of the sons of Arius, there was an age of undreamed of. And onto this, Conan, destined to wear the jeweled crown of Aquiline. Shit, I can't even pronounce that. Upon a troubled brow, it is I, his chronicler, who alone can tell thee of his saga. Let me tell you of the days of high adventure. Boom, 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 boom. He's my hype man. Rest my hype man.
I can also play the kazoo.
I was just sad for you had lost your way.
Was that also Mako in that movie? Oh, jeez.
No, that was
No.
the new actor.
Okay.
Ah, Zuko, you're gonna get a kick out of this. My pie show tile has been in my seat the whole time.
if
To
I
do.
may I'll
Go
let you
ahead.
finish.
No, no, no,
If
I'm
I
done.
may intervene, we're in our we've done our tragic and sad backstories. Can we talk about backstories that maybe inspire us or make us see a character that we like in a better light? or a backstory that we just enjoy, or a backstory that makes us stand up and cheer.
Let's go with the one that did tells a bear, not a bear story,
Mm-hmm.
adds more to the character, enhances the
Sure.
character.
Sure.
Like,
Mhm.
ooh, that's a
It could be
hard one.
anything. Yeah.
Going back to to Cobra Kai, Johnny Lawrence when he retells the whole entirety of the first movie in his own version.
Oh yeah.
He just really just check out his ego in the beginning of the story of Cobra Kai, and then see how he starts to evolve past that. Or how about oh, would it be Doc? No, not Doc Brown from Back to the Future.
Uh,
This is really difficult. It's really difficult to talk about something good, isn't it? For us, we need to
Strange.
practice that.
I can think of some good, jolly,
Maybe,
bring sunshine into your life backstories that
hmm.
that
So
At
that
let
least
me
makes me
ask you a
on
care.
question.
at least on heroes or villains.
anyone.
Any one of
Anyone.
your any one of your choosing.
Anyone. Because I mean, I
Yes.
already. Yeah, because I mean, I already had like one villain in mind. It doesn't make me like root for him, but pretty much like adds more to his character. That is
Mhm.
Garland in Stranger of Paradise Final Fantasy Origin.
Because it goes back to Final Fantasy with you, but it's in your title.
Final Fantasy, maybe one name, but it has many stories. I'll
Oh
be
yeah.
honest with you.
Absolutely.
Ooh, Crisis Core.
Oh yes.
Happy Derpy Zack. Nothing's gonna bring him down.
Soldier, Soldier First Class Zax on the job.
And yeah, that song. But
Okay, I'm done.
yeah, that song though. That
The
oh
price.
my god.
They had the title. They picked the right title for that. The Price of Freedom.
Uh-huh. The song is pretty sad.
Or
So
Truth Behind the Project.
Still holding on to the question of
Man, how many
whether
people broke their freaking violins trying to play all these Final Fantasy songs? Because they,
Oh, there's
woo-wee.
plenty.
Or what about
well,
Soul News from Final Fantasy 15? You know
They
what? I'm
did
getting
that.
ahead of myself. Let me get off my high. Go ahead, Final. Finish what you're saying about Final Fantasy.
Um, yeah, going back, yeah, 'cause already saying from what how Stranger of Paradise expands on Garland. Stranger of Paradise's story is a bit of a mess until as you actually start playing through the game, and then everything starts piecing together. And once they do, especially when you reach that ending, it actually comes so satisfying to actually see what actually. Yeah, it's pretty interesting how we actually see it with Final Fantasy's very first antagonist, because Garland's whole thing, especially in Dissidia, is that he's obsessed with battle and conquest. Like in Dissidia, like one of his encounters with the Warrior of Light, where he always says, "It is our fate to fight one another," or "We will never come to accept one another. We shall always be in conflict." Something like that.
Oh,
Because
how about Tai Long from Kung Fu Panda or Shin
mm,
Panda 2? Which we don't really get to
mm,
really actually see the whole backstory of Shin. We just only been told through his perspective, and yet suddenly you fall in love with him.
you understand
right.
You want to hug him, actually. Like we
his,
don't even know what his parents did to him.
his
He's just
backstory is
mad.
told through his own actions.
Hmm.
The question is just how much of it is really what happened, or how much of it is what he wants to take away from it.
Yep.
It's a self-made
Shin,
monster.
one of the best design, one of the most just my goodness. The meticulous thought process on his character design. Just A peacock villain.
It was a like I say, great character design that delivered itself for the team. Also voiced by Gary
Mm-hmm.
Oldman.
Mm-hmm.
I'm back.
Hey, we're talking
We're
about Kung
talking
Fu
about Kung
Panda.
Fu Panda.
It's been a while since I've seen that one.
Yeah,
Ooh,
originally they
speaking of
were talking about
now that you bring the whole backstory that enhances the story, Poe's backstory.
Yep.
mm,
Did you guys cry? I know y'all did.
I'm trying to think.
Poe.
Oh, the panda voiced by Jack Black.
Kung Fu
Oh.
Panda.
The character who had a question. Was he really the son of a duck? I say duck because that's what he's supposed to be. I don't know why they called him a goose in the second.
Was I
What
I'm
ever
like
gave you the
Eloise.
idea?
It's been a long time since I've seen Kung Fu Panda, and if there was a sequel, I didn't see it.
Oh wow.
Forgive
Oh,
me.
there are only like 2 more sequels, plus a
Kung,
TV show.
Kung Fu Panda was not the
Wait, is
first
there a
movie
fourth one?
to get people to
No.
know it, but okay, you guys are talking about something else.
No, go ahead. Finish your statement, Rhett.
I was gonna say that Kung Fu Panda was not the movie that got people to notice it, but it was the point where DreamWorks kind of figured out we could do the zany comedy with a more heartful story.
Absolutely.
I remember really
Yes.
it's like before that you would have something contrast, like you would watch something like Shrek or Fish Shark Tale, and it would be juxtaposed by something like The Prince of Egypt, The Road to El Dorado, or Sinbad, something that was trying to be a little more serious. And
Speaking of which, what's y'all take on the Prince of Egypt?
I remember
It's a great adaptation.
seeing that when I was a kid, and now looking back on this now, I was just like, oh, oh,
I
just
thought.
oh.
Is it just me, or his mouth just like bam?
Oh, go finish final. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Oh no, you're fine. It's just that my reaction, just by looking back on it now, I have seen it since I was a kid, but now looking back on this now, I'm just like, oh, it's just oh.
Not saying anything.
My takeaway from the
I
Prince of Egypt, I was like, I hope I never had to have the same relationship as Moses and Ramses with me and my brother.
I thought the movie was okay.
What?
The
I
book was
did.
better.
I thought it was okay. The 10 Commandments.
Okay,
was
hipster.
The 10. I felt again. I felt like this movie is trying to force me to feel something instead of letting the story just tell
What?
itself.
They
What?
were. They were letting you feel something.
You know,
It's an abridged version, Leia.
I know, Wolf. I understand it completely. I didn't say I hated it. I
Right.
just felt it was okay. I didn't say I hate it.
I know.
I just felt it okay because I must be honest. I don't if it pops up on streaming or if it's on television. I got to be honest with you guys. I don't go back and rewatch it that much. I said it. I didn't hate it, but I just felt that it wasn't the greatest adaptation of the tale of Moses.
Ramesses. Oh, let me guess. You want me to let your people go? I hope I find you here. Get out! Ramses, we must bring this to an end. Ramses, please, talk to me. We could always talk here. This place, so many memories. I remember a time you switched the heads of the gods of the Temple of Ra. If I recall correctly, you were there switching heads right along with me. No, it was you. I didn't do that. Oh, yes, you did. You put the hippo on the crocodile and the crocodile on the falcon. Yes, and the priest thought it was a horrible omen and fasted for 2 months. Father was furious. You were always getting me into trouble. But then you were always there to get me out of trouble again. Hmm. Why can't things be the way they were before? Father, it's so dark. I'm frightened. Why is he here? Isn't that the man who did all this? Yes, but one must wonder why. Because no kingdom should be made on the backs of slaves. Ramses, your stubbornness is bringing this misery upon Egypt. It would cease if only you would let the Hebrews go. I will not be dictated to. I will not be threatened. I am the morning and evening star. I am Pharaoh. Something else is coming. Something much worse than anything before. Please let go of your contempt for life before destroys everything you hold dear. Think of your son. I do. You Hebrews have been nothing but trouble. My father had the right idea of how to deal with your people, Ramesses. And I think it's time I finish the job. Ramesses! And there shall be a great cry in all of Egypt, such as there never has been or ever will be again. Harder! Harder! Ramses, you bring this upon yourself. And scene.
And scene. And thank you for that wonderful interpretation, Wolf. I didn't say I hated the movie. I still think Yul Brynner is a great Ramses.
As adaptations go, you have to do a little something different.
Sure as
True,
hell
but
better than I am a god! I am a god! If you guys remember that one movie that Ridley Scott directed called Exodus.
oh, I
God
didn't like.
Kings.
Did you like that? I didn't
Wasted
care
my
for that.
money.
I didn't watch it.
Wasted my money. Yes,
It was
wasted my
funny to
money
see
too.
Joel Edgerton in tan though.
Ridley Scott can get me to watch something that's not Alien maybe 2 times.
Mhm.
and Moses wearing armor for once, or not for once. I don't know. He wanted to relive Gladiator in one scene for some reason.
Okay, 3 times.
And God was a rowdy little kid. That shit was hilarious. I was like, well, I give you points for portraying God right in this scenario because he was a real stubborn and rowdy bastard. Forgiveness, Lord.
It's oh dear. You're gonna forgive very quickly.
Shit, I'm laughing at myself. No. Getting back to the topic. I did kind of like how in Prince of Egypt they kind of gave a bit more of a pizzazz to it with the kind of the pushing of Ramses from the father being him being the eldest, and how he's expecting more out of Ramses but expecting less out of Moses. Moses is always easily forgiven for his antics, but when it comes to Ramses, there's a lot of pressure put upon him. You can say the same thing when it came down to the Ten Commandments, of course, right, Leia?
Well, you're partially right. I think the biggest thing
I'll
is
take that.
Ramses' lack of is the Pharaoh's lack of faith that Moses was trying to tell him there was somebody bigger than you, and the Pharaoh only believed no, there is no one that I should have faith in but myself, and he learned that lesson the hard way at the end. So that's what Moses was trying to warn him about. It wasn't about trying to revenge. It was trying to tell him there is someone. I have something that I believe in that is bigger than you, whereas Ramsey believed in faith only in himself. And there is no one bigger than me. There is no one higher than me. I am powerful. I am strong, and I can do these things while you are just a lonely slave. What can you possibly do? Despite the plagues that were brought upon him to prove to him there was someone higher, the Pharaoh didn't budge. So while you do make an interesting point, some of the Pharaoh, some of this was from his own that sinful imperfection of pride. So that's what I take from it. It doesn't that Moses was better. It's just his faith was in something that could not be seen, whereas Pharaoh believed there was it has to be
Well,
seen.
that went well. Just go away. It could have been worse. The weak link in the chain. That's what he called me. Well, you're rather pathetic. Irresponsible, ignorant of the traditions. He practically accused me of bringing down the dynasty. Yeah, I can see it now. There go the pyramids. Poor Val Kilmer. Man can barely speak.
Wait, let me get this straight.
Yes.
We got a man dressed in red who believes in others and even has faith within himself,
Mm-hmm.
but yet treats others as equals. While in contrast, we have someone who believes he is above others and falls prey to his own delusions and his own pride and takes control of things. Now, why does that sound familiar? Oh yeah, Superman and Lex Luthor.
One does
And
have
they're
the
played
hair.
by Moses and Ramses.
Very good analogy, final.
Yeah, I
That made me
just
think
realized
about the
that.
story of
Suck
Superman
it,
and the story of
bitches!
Moses.
He is not a Jesus allegory. He's fucking Moses.
That's what I just said.
I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about the bastards that keep comparing him to Jesus all the damn time.
Yeah.
It's fucking Moses. Get it right, you sons of bitches. You're talking about you're gonna argue this against a fucking diehard Superman fan right here.
I want to see Clancy Brown do a cover of "Let My People Go."
Oh damn! You who I called brother, how come you come to hate me so? Is this what you wanted?
Is Clancy
Then
Brown
let my
sing
heart be
"Missed Opportunity"
hardened.
if not?
Hmm?
Does Clancy Brown sing "Missed Opportunity" if not?
Gotta pay a good classic Brown impressionist to do that.
Or what's a good comparison to Superman to a Jesus to its or not like a Jesus character, but Saint Jude. Yeah, Saint Jude.
Yeah, yeah. You can say it. You can see. Yeah, I can kind of see that.
Mm.
Hell, we've been talking about backstories all this time.
I mean, it is
Uh,
the title of the video, so there you go.
well,
Do
no,
you have
no.
We're still asking the question of when they're good, when they're bad, and how's the best way to use them.
Right.
Well, how's the best way to use the backstory then?
Well, personally, the way I've been picking up on it, I think every character does better with one.
I
Mhm.
do too.
Just a right amount, and there's not really a gold standard for the right amount of backstory you can give with a character, especially when you do character creation. Just enough to know of the character and not to overwhelm the audience, and not to pile on too much onto the character where it gets ridiculous comparative to what you've already established within your story. And we don't really need a backstory for villains all the time to stop the story so that they can just read their life story all on one scroll. That's how I kind of like view my backstories in a way. How I try my best to write my backstories for characters.
Mm.
Give enough, but not too much. Enough
Uh,
to really expand upon, enough to enhance, and enough to just settle. Does that sound square for you guys?
Yep.
it does
Yeah.
Yep.
because
Moment to moment is also a factor.
as you spoke, I thought about, you don't watch anymore, The Walking Dead. I think one of the weaknesses was there was just too many backstories on for characters we really didn't need backstories on. We really didn't need a Negan backstory. We really didn't really need a Governor backstory.
No,
Some characters did not need backstories, and I think there were too many of them. And I just didn't think that was necessary. To go along with what you said, Wolf, I think that every character doesn't need a backstory. All villains don't need backstories. We don't need to be told all of that. And I
I'm
think
gonna reference my go-to gold standard, Berserk.
mhm.
Guts don't have a backstory to speak of. Only the story that he wrote with the Band of the Hawk. That's the only backstory that you'll ever get from him. But as far as how his being comes and the origins of his parentage, that's not a factor into his character.
Where he came from was it not only is it not too relevant, it's not that great either.
Yeah,
This was a child of darkness.
it's pretty awful stuff. Same thing with with the Witchers in the Witcher series. I mean, yes, all the information is there, but none of it's really substantial enough to really have a full concrete uh concrete evidence to substantiate all the information. Like the making of Witchers sometimes. I mean, It's fairly there, but it's like it's still a dangerous process, and you usually get 7 out of them out of 20 kids. That's right, I said it. I don't think I need not to repeat myself. Fizz. I'm talking about before the golden age start.
I think that actually phase one of the MCU were all backstories, but they were told very well. That's
I mean,
just
of course,
me.
it was setting up the Avengers.
Right, but I like the way it was done. They just gave them one whole movie about backstories, and then that's it. We don't have to go back. We can move forward. That's not a bad concept. We can just move forward now. We don't have to go back in part two movies or second movies and say, well, here's what happened here. It's just now we can just move forward. So that's a
Sorry,
good way
Dominic.
to
Yeah, it's
me.
just
I'm
starting
I'm
points.
beginning to wind down because, like I said, new schedule with the new shift right now. It's high time to start wrapping things up now. Next
Okay.
time, Dom, I'll invite you. Well, as a matter of fact, part two. We'll do a part two.
All
I don't know
right.
if I don't know if we can rotate, see if anybody has a better way of talking about this. Who knows? But yeah, we can do a part two of this. So, homie, not to cut this short, but I'd like to thank everybody for being here. Those 10 of you and those non-existent motherfuckers that keep popping in and out. I'd like to thank the chat for. Look, man, you and the mic get a room already.
Oh, sorry. I forgot I was muted. I was maneuvering things around. Sorry.
Look, it's nice that you put a ring on that, but dang it.
Sorry.
I'd like to thank all those of you who were in chat that that contributed and added to what we're talking about. We were all over the place, but we always keep bringing it back in and out, and y'all know what y'all here for. Us rambling. That's why y'all really come. Y'all come to hear us ramble and hear what we have to really say. And I thoroughly appreciate you guys always hearing what we have to say. I'd like to thank the lovely lady of Valor Plus Size.
Hello, everybody. This is Leah Plus Size, your lovely lady of valor, and we want to thank you for joining us this evening for our ramble about backstories, the good, the bad, the not so great. We want to thank you for all the comments that you leave for us. We really appreciate it. If you have any topics you'd like for us to sit up here and ramble about, if you love to enjoy rambling, please let us know in the comments. They're always helpful, and we will take them in consideration. We want you to come here and have fun. We want to be an escape from maybe other streams that you may have been in. So kind of think of us as that. So with saying that, I thank you all for coming, and I hope you have a good evening and a good weekend.
For a brief moment, the Bear of the North, Eloise Dottle.
See ya, everyone. Enjoy your weekend and stay safe out there because it's hurricane season.
That and more, but I'm not going to speak on it here.
Yeah. See ya,
The
everyone.
The Warrior of Light, Final Fantasy Fan 12.
Well, that about does it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you like what you saw, click like and subscribe and share with your family and friends. And make sure you ring that notification bell. That way you get notified of our latest videos. Go subscribe to Wolf10 Media if you haven't already. Go subscribe to me if you haven't already. Once again, thank you guys so much for watching. This is Final Fantasy Fan 12 signing off. And remember, may the light forever shine upon us.
The Desert Red Bull Redneck.
Save a horse, ride a cowboy.
Save a horse, ride a panda.
No, ride a cowboy.
Ride a panda.
Panda.
I sometimes question you guys.
Jump on it, let's do it. Ride on
Oh, I
my
should have.
pony, my saddle's waiting.
I knew that was coming.
I'm surrounded by idiots.
It's still live.
He knows.
Did you not hear? Did you not? Did you hear me sign out? No, the fuck I did not.
Sorry.
You would know. You know the sign. I saw the sign. Open up my
Oh.
heart. I saw the sign. Is what you
I'm
did with man.
surrounded by idiots. Jeremy Irons is very, very particular.
Oh my god! Don't even get me started on the freaking live action quote air quotes there. By the way, live action Lion King.
I didn't. You're a fool if you believe that's real.
Oh, please, God, no. Not the
Every,
live action.
every
Lion King.
deep British accent guy is the same with me.
I never thought hyenas essential. They're crude and unspeakably plain.
They'd be
But
alright.
maybe they've a glimmer of potential. If aligned to my vision and brain.
He's hungry.
So it what you know,
That's
it
great,
wasn't like they were alone or anything. Yeah, what do you want us to do? Kill Mufasa?
Long live the king.
Precisely.
Long live the king. I love Jeremy Irons. People think he's British. No, he's not.
He
just
is
has that.
so
He
not.
has that good delivery. And he turns around the waves for it.
Oh, it's the first in line until the little hairball was born. That hairball is shit. My voice is tired. I can't.
That
do anything
hairball is my son.
right. And your future king.
And I should practice my curtsy.
We're having too much fun for outing.
You guys
Don't
are
you
good with
turn
your
your back on
impressions.
me, Scar.
I mean, is this not how it's different from many times that we've done something like this for our outros?
No,
You guys are great with the impressions.
I'm trying.
I used to could do them well, but I have to be triggered.
I have to scream it out on a pillow for a week. A blithe approach.
Just a quiet approach. Just try to yell and scream. Just scream
Oh,
into
no.
a pillow. That's always gonna
Perhaps
be
you
new
shouldn't
anime
turn your-
screams.
Oh no, Mufasa. Perhaps you shouldn't turn your back on me.
Is that a challenge?
Temper. I wouldn't dream of challenging you. Pity, why not? Well, as far as brains go, I got the lion's share, but when it comes to brute strength, I'm afraid I'm at the shallow end of the gene pool. Matthew, excuse me, I have to work on my curtsy.
He would make a fine throw rug.
What am I going to do with him?
That's where he says. That's when Atkinson says the line.
Yeah.
Hey,
There's one in every there's one in every family, sire. Two in mine, actually, and they always manage to ruin special occasions. What am I going to do with him? He'd make a very handsome throw rug, Zazu. And just think, whenever he gets dirty, you can take him out and beat him.
take him out and beat him.
If anybody can do a good Gaston, I could do a little Belle.
Oh, wow.
I would have to work on that one.
The movie after she sings her song and she's walking through the town reading her book and he takes the book from her and
Who does she think she is? No one says no to Gaston. Right.
That's not bad.
Thing with impressions, it's like muscles. You got to work them.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
She takes the book and she says, "Bonjour, Gaston." And he takes the book from her and she says, "Gaston, may I have my book, please?" He says, "How can you read
this? There's no
That's
pictures.
who I'm afraid I've been thinking. I know. How can
Sorry,
you
my
read
brain.
this?
I was going to
There are
sing it, but then my brain just went to a YouTube poop of the song.
How can you read this? There's no pictures.
Some people just use their imagination.
Well, I think it's time you got your head out of those books and one of the more important things, like me.
Gaston, you're positively primeval.
Thank you, Belle. Why, thank you, Belle.
Well, then he says, "Let's go down to the cavern," and then she says, "And do something," and then she says,
Oh, bye.
Maybe later." Yeah.
You think of my
Dominic
father.
has
Like, that crazy old loon.
My father's not crazy. He's a genius.
No, there's a line.
Oh,
Don't
Belle,
talk about my father.
summer
Yeah,
child.
don't talk about her father that way.
Yeah.
Father is a genius. And then and they're all laughing.
And then she runs away to her father.
Oh goodness. For the future topic, we can go over instances where an adaptation turns out to be better than the source material. Yeah.
Good one. Yeah.
Dominic, would you want to be would you be primed for that too?
Hmm?
I'm talking to Dominic, dude.
Oh.
Well, now I got my energy back from the impressions.
Wow.
Be prepared for the coup of the century. Be prepared for the murkiest crime. You don't need to talk about is what your movie sucks 2 hour long part 1 rant of how the Lion King.
I'm still waiting for that part 2, dude. He got me on edge for that shit. He said some really good shit about that. I was like, bro, every time freaking YouTube recommends me part 1 after I already fucking watched it, I'm like, man,
anybody got
Adam,
$1 million to pay at Jeremy Irons to say happy birthday to him? To
happy
Adam.
birthday.
Happy birthday, Adam.
Hey, Uncle Scar,
Sucks.
guess what? I despise guessing game.
Well, don't forget, I can't do her because I'm not wicked, but Ursula's voice is very
Like,
kind
my
of
father says I get
squealy.
king. He's like, well, don't mind me if I don't get giddy with joy.
Bad back. Well, if you shit. Well, sorry for not leaping for joy. Bad back, you know.
Bad back.
Hey, Scar, when I'm king, what does that make you? A
A
monkey's
monkey's
uncle.
uncle.
You're so weird. You have no idea.
I love
So
it.
your father brought you to the Pride Lands. Yeah. He didn't tell you about that little chalet place, did you? Did he? Oh, he said I couldn't go there, and he's absolutely right.
Right. It's far too dangerous for a young cub. So,
Only the bravest lions go there. Oops. And Jonathan, what? Wow, I said too much.
You said too much. Rule number 2 of doing that impression, as I know from Jeremy Irons, you really have to put your mind in a lion.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't just Jeremy Irons doing a voice. It was Jeremy Irons playing a lion.
Oh, don't forget Benedict Cumberbatch as Smeagol.
Yeah, I did.
Oh, yes.
Benedict Cumberbatch as Smeagol, yeah. Smeagol. Yeah.
Yes. Hurry home, princess. We wouldn't want to miss old daddy's celebration now, would we? Ha! Celebration indeed.
Wait, did he play?
In my day, we had fantastical feasts when I lived in the palace. And now look at me. Wasted away to practically nothing. Banished and exiled. And practically starving. While he and his flimsy fish folk celebrate.
I wish, and none dare resist. I laid low the warriors of old like there is naught in the world today. And then I was but young and tender.
This is a long outro.
I'm just giving them what they want.
Give them what they
Well,
want.
I'll give them something to celebrate soon enough. Flotsam! Jetsam! I want you to keep an eye. An extra. Fuck. I done fucked up the damn line.
Never laugh at dragons, Bilbo, you fool!
That's a good Smeagol. That is, Benedict Cumberbatch was great as the voice of Smeagol.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I'm not trying to step on anyone. You all got your impressions.
Well, Angelfish, the solution to your problem is simple. The only way to get what you want is to become a human yourself. You can do that.
I was going to do
My dear
Ariel, but
sweet
you're fine
child,
both.
that's what I do. It's what I live for, to help unfortunate more folk like yourself. Poor souls with no one else to turn to. I'll admit that in the past I've been that nasty. They weren't lying when they called me Willow Witch. Okay, I can't. I'm too.
Hey, look,
I'm
we're
too
losing watchers now.
right. Just now, I got 'em, boys. Yeah, talking about YMS. Anyways, guys, this is your Will Commander once again reminding
All
you
right,
to
one last quote from Smug.
fine. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. My armor is like 10-foot shields. My teeth are swords. My claws are spears. The shock of my tail like a thunderbolt. Wings like a hurricane and... dang it. Wait,
Why's
I
that
think it's
thing be
supposed...
hard, guys?
Hot
That was
fire,
good.
breath, death.
Okay, I got one that one ups your ass. You ready?
Don't let up my ass, please. I do not.
I'm gonna ram up your ass anyways. Decompose.
Who was that?
What was that?
Decompose from Inhumanoids.
Okay, here's the full quote from Smug.
Inhumanoids, the evil that
That's
lies
that's
within.
to my roster. Ah, that's a very fine technique you got there, Goku.
Okay.
Take it away, Final. Cap us off.
Alright. My armor is like 10-foot shields. My teeth are swords. My claws are spears. The shock of my tail a thunderbolt. My wings a hurricane. And my breath, death.
Very good.
Thank you.
Very good.
I am fire.
Oh my god.
I am
Then you got him started.
death. Power Rider.
Go,
Fuck,
go.
let me look for that.
Next time I'll do my Aaron Evan star. I do a little Aaron Evan star, but we're
Oh,
going
yeah?
to yes.
You
When
do
she's
some
on the
Elvish too.
I would have to work on my Elvish a little bit. Some Elvish I know. Some Elvish I know. I may screw it. I may screw it up tonight if I did it. I just is it one? It's the
Lord
scene where
Rings.
they're in not they're in God.
Now that's how you talk.
Yes, no. Not
We are never leaving.
not Lothlorien. They're in Rivendell, and Aragorn is confronting his past, and she comes to him, and she says to him, you know, why do you fear the past? You are Isildur's heir, not Isildur himself. You are not bound to his fate. And then Aragorn says, same weakness flows through my veins. Same weakness. Your time will come, and you will face this evil, and you will defeat it. And then they go to the bridge, and that beautiful music comes. And then that's when
she elf.
and that beautiful music comes. And then he says to her, she gives her the Evan Star, and he says to her, you said you bind yourself to me, forsaking the life and your people. And then she says, and to that I hold. I would share one lifetime with you, then face all of the ages of this world alone. I choose a mortal life. You cannot give me this. It is mine to give to whom I will. Like my heart. That's my Arvin Ernstar.
Concealed within his fortress, the Lord of Mordor sees all. His gaze pierces cloud, shadow, earth, and flesh. You know what I speak of, Gandalf. A great eye, lidless, wreathed in flame. Against
That
the
almost
power
sounds
of
like me when I'm
Mordor.
doing poetry. Almost.
Oh,
In fact,
God,
I have... Oh, sorry. In fact, I do have another poem that I've written down verbatim.
I got a poem for you. Your love of the halfling's leaf has clearly slowed your mind. I gave you the chance of aiding me willingly, but you have elected the way of pain.
We know that yes, no, you guys are great with your villains. I'm not a good villain voice. I can't do evil. Even though when I was
The hour is
in
late.
drama.
I got this.
You guys,
The hour is late than you think. Sauron's forces are already moving. The Nine have left Minas Morgul. The Nine.
uh-uh.
They crossed the river Aeson in Midsummer's Eve, disguised as riders in black. They've reached the Shire. They will find the ring and kill the one who carries it.
Frodo, yeah,
Rest in
Frodo.
peace.
Christopher Lee.
Christopher Lee.
Yep,
Yes,
yep. Why am I blanking on- Why is
masterpiece.
that blank on his name? Damn. All right, that's it. That's enough. That's enough. That's enough. That's enough.
And
We can
that
tell
was
spit.
Wolf
You know,
10
he
Media
said he not know.
Expression Theater. That was Wolf 10 Media's
Exactly.
Expression Theater. We hope you enjoy our performances.
I should sing some of his Rhapsody songs now. I think about it.
Oh, you funny.
No, I'm not. I'm just
Anyways,
serious.
this is your Wolf Commander Wolf 10. Once again, your werewolf. Remind you guys that you are the UN Spacey. Welcome to the Wolf Fleet.
Now you're all probably wondering why I called you